Show. Always Irish Show. Always Irish Show. Sometimes it's good to just yell about football. What are you doing? Don't do this to me, Harry! The Ohio State. It's Ohio State! What do you mean, the? It's a poison. I almost stroked out and died over it. I'm glad to be at the party. I'm mad we're this late. You ain't a captain of nothing but a sinking ship. That helps the defense without them even doing a damn thing. Doing a damn thing. The call-in line. 312-988-15. You tell Johnny all you've heard and seen. No Irish. No Irish. No Irish. No Irish. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Welcome in. Welcome back, everybody. I'm already laughing today. It's just the stupidest, littlest stuff that makes me funny. You guys are hilarious in the chat. Brian Kelly has no resources to recruit at LSU. I mean, the world's falling apart. What are we going to do? Oh, my gosh. We're going to have fun today. Welcome in. Welcome back, everybody. Dr. John's on the line for a typical Wednesday call. He's going to start us off here. I've highlighted a bunch of your chats, so we're going to get to those too. Here's the deal with Kent. He had his ride in the sunshine, and I'm not eager to go back because it was just a bit much. It was just a bit much. Hey, I wasn't going to go after Kelly, but there's a bunch of chats about it. So then every time people are like, John, we got to find a way to move on. I'm sick of you talking about Brian Kelly. And then I'm like, I'd like to quit talking about it too. Like, I don't want to make it about that, blah, blah, blah. And then something stupid with Brian Kelly happens. What do you want me to do? I report the news. I don't make it. He's out there running his mouth again, saying stupid things, making excuses. Of course I'm going to bring it up. I don't like the guy, and he doesn't like me. And that's fine. It's just the way it's going to be. Oh my gosh. Unbelievable. I went to LSU because there was nowhere to ski Brian Kelly's jet ski. He's sitting there. I wonder if I could drive this thing to the first tee. Ooh. Oh my God. It's just whoever did that, good job. I don't know if it's the same person that did. I don't know if it's the same person that did the Jerry Reinsdorf's burner and they change it, or John Kennedy's Swarbrick. And I'm starting to think these characters are the same guy and they change their name over the weeks to fit whatever's going to make me like laugh or lose focus, because they're doing a really good job. They're doing a really good job. Oh my gosh, that's funny. Oh, that's funny stuff. All right, let's get into it because I do have some things to cover. We got a couple phone calls. I want to get into it. So let's get this going here. So obviously, thanks for being here. You can find the program on YouTube. Do it. Subscribe if you haven't yet. Appreciate it very much. Give the video a thumbs up. Notifications on so you don't miss anything. Oh, man, I'm struggling already. Twitter, search bar Always Irish or at Always Irish Chic. Emails alwaysirishnd@gmail.com. Audio only, anywhere you want it, you can get it. If you don't want to see my face, I certainly don't blame you. Call in lines 312-988-15. Dialed up. Tell Uncle Johnny all you've heard and seen. Instagram, Facebook, Always Irish Chic. USA Today, Irish Wire. You can read all about it there, folks. Patreon.com/Always Irish. It's the former captive leading tackler Mike Goolsby and myself breaking it all down. Thanks to everybody that's over there. Big plans for this season. Big plans for the season over there. We're changing things up, offering new features, mixing it up a little bit. Okay. So here's where we're going to start. First thing is go over to the College Huddle when you're done with this. Eric Boggs, College Huddle. Got a good group of people over there breaking down all the college football. We got a Texas A&M guy over there. I think I'm going to try and set up a show with them soon, kind of get some inside scoop from the Texas A&M side, how their spring went, how things are looking, getting integrated with Mike Elko over there. That's going to be interesting. Interesting to get into. John, just tell us you still have feelings for BK and we'll understand. Oh, I still have feelings for him. It's just not the kind you're referencing. But in all seriousness, I'm going to say one thing and we're going to move on. I don't want to make it about Kent. I had all I can handle, gave him his time, trying to be fair to a troll. He had his time in the sunshine and it's going to be a while before he gets one again. So we did that and we're done with it. I'm just going to bring up one thing. With Kelly. Let BK go. He's in the news. What do you want me to do? He's in the news again. I don't wake up every day saying, well, how can I talk about Brian Kelly? He's in the news again. Sorry. 2 sentences and then we can move on. The whole reason the guy said he left Notre Dame was to go somewhere that gave him full football resources. And he made that very, very clear that Notre Dame wasn't giving him the resources he needed to win. And he wanted to go somewhere where they give him all you need to win and do all that. Here he is yesterday complaining about money, saying, they said, why is it D-line recruiting the way that it should be? And he's like, because we're doing it different and we don't pay that money and it's harder to do. He's shopping down a different aisle in Mardi Gras. How about this, Chief? It's fun for me and it's my show. How about that as an answer? Like, is that not a fair enough answer of why I talk about that? How about this? It's fun for me and I run the show. There you go. Like, I have a 2-hour show we're going to do. That 1 minute Brian Kelly. Nope, I can't do that. The show's too jam-packed to fit in 1 minute. Oh, my God. But yeah, how about that? Like, maybe I just need to start being like more of a jerk. Why are you doing that, John? I don't know, because it's my show and I freaking feel like it. How about that for a couple answers? I just loved it. I just love the excuses. It's always an excuse, man. It cracked me up so much. It's just, well, we can't pay for we don't have the money to pay for players. How would you expect me to land a defensive lineman if I don't have the resources? It's the whole reason he said he left. Pull the jet ski up to the high school. $5 holler from my main man, Martinez. And we're back, Johnny. We are back indeed. Johnny's wrong again. About what part? The jet ski part, the Mardi Gras part, or what? Which part am I wrong about, Chief? I have no idea. Everything I said is exactly what happened. The guy, oh man, Dr. John. All right, let's do our callers first. I have a hilarious news story about college football. We're going to get to that. I highlighted your chats we're going to go back to, but I want to let the early callers go. Dr. John first, and then 720 after that. What's going on, Doctor? Dr. John, don't do this to me, John. Call me back. We'll see if it's our line or his line. 720, what do you know?
John, good morning. How you doing today?
I'm doing very well. Dr. John, my phone works, so there's something from your end. Work it out. What's going on, 720? Thanks for giving me a call on a Wednesday. What's on your mind?
Hey, you ever seen Eastbound and Down? Ever watched that show?
That show is absolutely hilarious in every single way, and Kenny Powers rules.
I picture Brian Kelly just sitting in his truck every day before he walks into the facility listening to his own self-help tape like Ken Powers.
Dude, it just never gets old. And you know what else too is very interesting to me? Notre Dame fans are going to be in a weird spot week 1. I believe it's USC and LSU. You want to talk about a week 1 game that'll get Notre Dame fans' interest? That's amazing. I love that week 1.
Yeah, it's kind of like watching two guys you really don't like fight each other and hope they just beat the crap out of each other until they both can't stand up. But yeah, I think USC's in a little bit of trouble. I'm not sold on Lincoln Riley, and I'm not sold on Kelly. I mean, I think Kelly he'll always have a respectable program at LSU because of the talent that's in that state and the money at LSU. But I think Lincoln Riley's in trouble.
Tell me if you agree with this. And you're out in the western part of the country, so you may be a little closer to this than I. Yeah, I thought so. So you may be a little closer to this than I am, but then again, I don't know if that matters in the wide world of the internet. But tell me if you feel this as well. I think they all thought with Lincoln Riley, the recruiting would go straight up and stay straight up, and they would own all of the top talent on the western part of the country would want to go there. And I don't think that's played out that way. You're losing some guys to Oregon, you lose a guy to Washington. I just don't think they're getting what they wanted out of that. They thought it would be automatic. You're not getting that. Also, Caleb Williams is in our city now, so he's going to be with the Bears. What are you going to do with quarterback? Whoever it is, even if they like him, it isn't going to be as good as that guy. Then with that schedule they have, 7-5 is a reality for USC this year. That's in play. I'm not being rhetorical. I mean it. 7-5, 8-4, that's right in play for them, in my opinion. I don't know. What do you think?
I think you're right. Well, here's the thing too, John, and I've called in a few times. I coach high school football, and it's not just a USC thing. It's there's something right now. I don't know what's going on with the high school football out west. I mean, but it seems like the best quarterbacks from the South or from Southern California are ending up at Ohio State. They're ending up in the SEC, and even Colorado kids, our top kids are bolting. And don't get me wrong, Colorado's a shit show, and that's going to be fun to watch tank because they're going to lose to NDSU, and then they're going to lose to Nebraska, and the wheels come off. But I think with USC, I think you're absolutely right. They thought, this is going to be the old regime where we just put out the beacons and every kid comes crawling to us, Wendell Wise, Ricky Bush. And I'm not getting that. I mean, here's what I don't get, and this is my question. I know Deion, and this is what pisses me off as a Colorado native. So I think, did you see Colorado's freshman recruiting class? And I'm not making this about Colorado. I'll try it into Marcus Freeman here in a second.
I don't.
They signed 6 kids.
Yeah, I don't know if I paid close enough attention other than the dumb stuff he's tweeting every day.
He's an idiot. But he signed 6 kids for the freshman class. 6 freshmen. The rest are transfer portal kids. And not one of those kids is from Colorado. And there's a kid 20 minutes away that's going to K-State, 3-star recruit, 4-star quarterback, whatever.
How can you expect to build a culture and have roots in the ground when you're only getting 6 kids the natural way, and then you're getting a bunch of one and dones in and out? That doesn't seem. Maybe they're building something totally different, but isn't it hard to have a stable culture and a backbone to know what you are when that's how you're being built and it varies so much all the time? Isn't that dangerous to you? That would make me really nervous as a Colorado fan. Instability.
I'm not sorry. Full Notre Dame, but you're right. You can't. But here's my problem. So every day I turn on the national media talking about Deion, blah blah blah. Can we get some love from Marcus Freeman? The kids will love it. That no one's leading the program. They like that's impressive when you got in this day and age where kids can transfer in and out, and there's a lot of kids on Notre Dame's roster that probably start in other places and they're not leaving. Like that's where I'm like,
yeah, what is
coaching staff?
What do you make of that? Like Goolsby and I talked about that on the Patreon too. Like what do you take away from guys not all leaving like that? Are they buying into the message? They want a Notre Dame degree. They love Freeman and what's going on, and they'd rather be second string and be at Notre Dame than first string somewhere they don't love being. Like, what is the message we should take away from the lack of portal activity out of Notre Dame? I don't know. Are people realizing the grass isn't always greener on the other side? Like, I don't know what to make of it, but it's a pretty good sign for your culture, I would say. Like, it kind of reaffirms that guys are bought into it. I don't think you can deny that, right?
100%. Well, I think there's a few things. One, you're right. They're buying into the culture. Two, a degree from Notre Dame, it's like not North Dakota State, like I know some people. But it's a big deal. I think they see those things. I think they love the coaching staff, and at the end of the day, I think they see the vision. This is Notre Dame, in my opinion, and I follow a lot of college football. I mean, that's kind of what I look for. I love this show, and I see these kids are seeing the picture. It took Dabo to a couple years to get him over that hump, and Kelly did a good job of like building a foundation, but he couldn't crack that. He just had some fundamental pieces that he, whether they were in his own head or whatever, he couldn't get over. And I think these kids see it. I mean, the quarterback room, it's
night and day.
Great thing.
It's absolute night and day. 100%. What they're building in the quarterback room is a 100% difference than what we had before. Not only are you building some talent upside, here's what I like. You're building in flexibility where you have more than one guy that could be the guy. And that gives you the flexibility to string it out, see who you may have options. Like, that's a different position than we're used to. We have one guy that we're not really sure if he's probably going to be great, but he's the starter and we need him to be good. And behind that, we're screwed. It's all changing, but we're not quite to the point of seeing it on the field yet. And that has some fans in wait and see mode. And I do understand that, but that's where I think we're at there. 100% flip from weakness to strength is what's happening in the quarterback room. And it's a big deal. It's a big deal.
And I think these kids understand, like, here's the bottom line too. If you want to make it, if you're going to make an NFL team and you're going to be a championship, you compete, right? And that's what makes championship teams, that makes you better in the locker room, prepares you for life. And that's what I think these kids at Notre Dame are competing at every position. You can't, I don't think Audric, and I felt that he was definitely the best running back, but I know every practice he was going in there and pushing himself because those young bucks behind him last year. And then, the O-line's going to get better. It's just the defense, it's competition everywhere. And that's what you want to see is you want that competition. And that's what I think it looks from my perspective, it looks like that's what Notre Dame's doing. And any championship team I was on, you always had that sense of competition. And I think that's the buy-in that these kids are getting, like, hey, we're building something here. I think if Riley Leonard is healthy, he is going to be lighting it up. Mark my words, if he is healthy, they can make a huge run. If he's not, I actually feel pretty good with Angeli stepping in and doing an okay job for a couple games. And, the Carr kid is really intriguing. And so is that, the other kid that he wasn't as, oh my God.
Minchie?
Minchie, he's intriguing too. So And then the Deuce Knight kid coming up, they just, at every level, Notre Dame's competing. I mean, the O-line the interior O-line looks really good. The tackles will get better. And I also think that D-line is so good, John. Like, I'm telling you right now, I am super excited about that D-line. And that is, that D-lines are huge when it comes to winning championships. And I don't think I've seen a D-line like this in Notre Dame since early 90s. Because even when we went 12-0 with Kelly, we were okay, but we weren't deep. We had Lewis Nix and Stephon Tuitt, but after that, everyone else was just a guy. But this D-line, I mean, you got Riley Mills, Howard Cross, Louis Carr, and the young kids are healthy or hungry, and that Bryant Young kid's I think he's gonna be a star for him. So I think the future is really, really bright for Notre Dame. I guess tying into the Deion Sanders thing, Marcus Freeman should be a national spotlight coach. I mean, family guy, good values, he's bringing in the right talent. Kids aren't leaving. So that says, you don't have a kid going in the portal, saying this guy was a jerk to me. It's amazing in this time. Even at the high school level, which not even close, but kids, to get into buy-in for a lot of kids now, it's not what it was in the 90s and early 2000s. The fact that Notre Dame is keeping their kids there is insane. And the only other two teams that really do that I see are Georgia and Clemson, and those are championship calibers. Because Ohio State had a lot of kids transfer out last year, so there's something about that formula that Dabo and Kirby Smart and Kelly has it, or Freeman has it. Kelly's listening to that self-help book right now, telling himself he's the best, he's the man.
Yeah.
Start to walk in and get his team
now.
on.
All right, now let's call ourselves out. Me and you are both taking a couple shots here, or people reacting in the comments saying, there's too much love going around for Freeman yet, for a guy that hasn't really accomplished anything overall on a major level on the field. And that's where we're getting caught in between, where if you choose to focus on the upside and the positives, but you don't have those big skins on the wall yet. And some coaching mistakes last year, no doubt. That's what we're going up against here, is balancing out the optimism with the people saying he hasn't accomplished much yet. Go ahead. I'm just trying to be fair and put this in the right framework. Go ahead.
He walked into a quarterback and wide receiver room that was depleted. Tyler Buckner, I don't know how he was ever ranked. The kid, nothing against Tyler. I am sure he's a great kid. But he got hurt that first game against Ohio State. He took Drew Pine and won 9 games with Drew Pine. Drew Pine's not even playing college football anymore. Drew Pine, that shows what he had to work with in the quarterback room. So, it's not an easy thing to win 9 games your first year. And yes, there was some talent. There was a lot of talent there. But there was also a huge deficit of wide receivers and quarterbacks. What was the last wide receiver we had drafted? What was the last quarterback? Drew Book or Ian Book? Ian Book was gone before Freeman got there. And this is not they had to get really creative to win those games. I remember that the Cal game when Drew Pine the first freaking quarter he was thrown into the dirt. The fact is, it's the guy, what else do you want from him? He walked into a situation that, yes, there was a lot going on there, but he also got screwed by the administration when he went after his offensive coordinator.
I know.
They screwed him over.
I know. But listen, man, I've made all these arguments over and over and over again. And all I hear back is excuses, excuses. John, I don't care. I don't want to hear that. You came to Notre Dame. You got to win. Mark is 10-man, losing to Marshall. It's all unacceptable. And you got to win. And this is Notre Dame. And we have no leeway. And you're coddling Freeman because you like him more than Kelly. So, John, you're carrying water for Freeman and you're never going to criticize him.
Here's what they need to ask themselves. How many years did it take Saban to win a national championship at Bama? Bama with way less academic.
Yeah.
3. How many did it take Dabo at Clemson? Way less academics.
Didn't Saban go like, didn't they have a bad first year too? Like if you were going to use like 7-5 or something. Yeah. Like if you're going to go down that path, then Saban, you're out of here. You're out of here. Oh, but people are going to say, oh, but Alabama was in the crapper and he had to build it up way more than Freeman did taking over for Kelly, because Kelly did do a good job of getting the program on firm footing, even though he couldn't get it over the hump. That would be the comeback.
Listen, I say, when as someone that's coached, and I played at a pretty high level on some good teams, really good teams. Look at the running back room. And this is not a disrespect to those guys. Kyron's doing great in the NFL. But after Kyron, there was no one in that room.
Yeah.
After it's been good. The tackles have been good. You know, like the O-line's been good, really good. But like, there is nothing else on that offensive side that it's like, oh, wow, we could win a championship with these guys. Is Ian Book even in the NFL right now? No. Like, what I'm saying, there is a huge disparity in talent that Freeman is making up for, that people, you got to get off, you guys in the chat got to get off the guy's back, right? Like, the guy it's winning championships doesn't come overnight. And Kirby Smart, Dabo, Saban can all tell you that. Even Harbaugh, how many years did he struggle, before he got his? It's like, Ryan Day walked into a plethora of talent and hasn't, so it's like, you guys gotta like understand.
Man, the level of patience, what I've learned is, man, the level of patience this fan base has varies absolutely wildly, from a lot of patience to almost none. And I don't know how to figure out how you attach how people's individual levels of patience are acquired or not. But man, there's a lot of people that have a lot of patience for Freeman and want to go for the ride, see it being built different. And then there's a lot of people saying, I just don't have time for this. You got to win now. And I don't know, man. It's a big year. It's a big year. You're going to lose a lot of key talent off this team after this year. This is a year you really got to show what you can do. You got to see it.
There is no such thing as instant success. And I'm in sales. I'm a realtor full time. I don't care what anything, football, wrestling, basketball. There's no such thing as instant success in life and business. And the problem is people don't remember. You and I do. Remember the Bob Davie era? Bob Davie. I mean, we can go back to some coaches like Charlie White. I mean, I will take 20 years of 10 to 12 win seasons and a shot at the national championship and be grateful than going back to, are we going to make a bowl game?
Yeah.
Because you and I remember those, John.
Yeah.
I mean, so it's like, but success wasn't built overnight. And I don't care whatever industry is. And you know what? It's kind of like, this is going to be a bad analogy, but you ever build a Lego set as a kid and you almost were there, but the foundation, you missed the key pieces at the bottom.
Yeah.
And couldn't complete it, so you had to take it down and rebuild it from the start. I know what you have to do. You were close with Kelly, but the culture wasn't there. The guy was saying, oh, you can't win here. And when you got a guy saying that, you got to almost erase everything he did. Not the players, but the culture he did, and reestablish things. And I think that's the difference is in with Freeman. If I remember, like a couple years, we had some good teams with Kelly, but if the linebacker went down, it was like, oh, here we go. What's the drop off was huge. Now it's like if someone goes down, like you might have a better guy in the wings waiting.
Yeah.
And I don't think we've had that.
You're starting to build some depth. And the other thing is you're going to need depth for this expanded playoff. If you're going to make any deep run at all with an extra month of games against top 12 teams that are deep are going to be the ones that survive that ride. And I think Notre Dame sees that and they're starting to build some depth. So I don't know, man. It's really interesting. Anything on the way out? Thanks for dropping in on a Wednesday. We certainly got the people talking.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it, and I really enjoy the chats. And seems like a great community. And hopefully, I'll get out there to a game this year and stop by. And hopefully, you're tailgating.
There you go, man. That sounds like a good plan. Keep representing us out there in them the mountain lands, okay, man?
Awesome, man. You have a great day, John.
Thank you. Thanks so much for the call. Give me a call again. Man, dude, you just bring up like it's wild to me how most of the people in here love Notre Dame and they want Notre Dame to succeed, but the way that it has to be built or look, it varies so much person to person. It's just really interesting. Back to the callers in 1 minute. I have a really, really good answer for this. How do you feel BK wasted 12 years, then have a ton more patience for Freeman? Because it's not wasted when I see Freeman working. That's the difference. I go to bed every night knowing Freeman is recruiting as hard as he can to put Notre Dame in a position to succeed. That was not the case with Brian Kelly at Notre Dame. Wasted time. Like people actually like working for Freeman and being in the building when he's around. That's culture. You didn't have that with BK. So that's not a waste. That's called taking your time and building something with it. I speak all the time about when I lay my little Irish leprechaun head on the pillow, I need to get a good night's sleep. I need to know when I lay down and close my eyes that I feel confident Notre Dame's coach is doing everything he can today, and he's going to wake up and do it tomorrow to put us in a position to better this program. You didn't have that with Brian Kelly. And then you didn't get elite results, but there was no chance to get him because he wasn't doing the things he needed to do to get him or changing. That's the wasted time. So whatever. You got to start seeing the results on the field. I agree with that. I totally agree with that. And the other thing that I struggle with in this is I always hear, John, you never hold Freeman accountable. You're all ripping Kelly, but you never hold Freeman accountable. I don't know what you want me to say. The in-game coaching has to get better. You cannot make Marcus 10-man mistakes ever again. You need to tighten up end of half time and timeouts and when you're going to burn a ball and clock it. You need to get all that figured out. Like year 3, we need you to kind of get up with the program a little bit on the new coach mistakes, like all of that. Having the team adequately prepared and emotionally keyed up to go into a hostile road environment and perform well. Notre Dame did a bad job of that last year. That's got to get better. So those are the things that pop into my mind when you're talking about accountability. And is it Marcus free pass? That's actually very creative. I get some arrows for being Marcus free pass and never questioning him. Like, I don't know what else you want me to say. I like the way they're trying to recruit. The culture of the team and the vibe is a healthy one people want to be around. Those are my 2 big priorities. Now, you need to tighten up the in-game stuff. I'm totally with you there. I am haunted every single day by the last offensive and defensive series in the Ohio State game. And the only thing you could do from that now is Marcus needs to take that misery and learn from it and make sure it never happens again on both sides of the ball. Both sides of the ball. So I want to hold Freeman accountable too. I want to credit him where I see progress, culture, vibe, relationship building, in recruiting and work ethic. The practical in-game stuff, he's got to get better. He's got to get better. He's got to get better. The ND media is definitely easier on Freeman than national media. Well, Andrew, that shouldn't surprise you one iota. The ND media are the ones who need to be in good graces to make sure their press pass buzzes them in to be able to interview Freeman and sit in the press box and be behind the scenes at the blue and gold practices leading up to it. That's how this always goes. The national media people are not reliant upon being in Notre Dame's good graces to have access to the program, so you can let it rip. To be honest with you guys, it's a little bit where I'm at in all this. I could get that press pass and be in there. I'm not sure that I want to put myself in a position where I start to feel like if I keep saying what I really want, I'm going to not be invited back in here. I'm in a weird spot too. Because I'm not going to be in there asking all these questions. And then before you know it, I'm one of what I started this to not become, where you're not saying the truth and letting it rip and all that, because I got to be in the good graces of the PR lady and get my press pass. It's a weird place to be. What I've learned is the closer you are to the program, the more you got to kind of protect the program, or you don't get that close. And it's like, that's not how journalism should be. That's not how the media is. It's just the reality. When your job depends on writing about Notre Dame and you're in that room, you can't rip them every day or they're not going to let you come in the room. It's a big balance, a big dance back and forth. It just is. So I don't know, man. Does that make any sense? Dr. John.
You always make sense.
Oh my gosh.
Does that make sense?
Oh, that does not make sense. You're the first person that's ever said that. I'll promise you that, Dr. John.
You know, I apologize. It's 2 weeks in a row. This screwed up. And now I see I got some. You there, bud?
Yep.
Okay, I got a call coming in, but I know it's spam. Anyway, you know what amazes me sometimes about this show is all these years that I've been a Notre Dame fan, I never studied things and knew the ins and outs like some of your callers do. You got some people that call in that just know this game so well. And this old fart keeps learning.
Yeah, it's interesting. And you know what else is interesting about it, Dr. John, is there seems to be certain areas about football or the sport or the team that certain people have more interests in than others. And they focus on and do research on. And I like that because then you have different people that chime in and they're like, John, I love the recruiting thing. That's my thing. Here's where I'm at with it. Other people are a lot better than me, Dr. John. I'm looking at the full country. I get sucked so far down in like Notre Dame land. Sometimes I like people that broaden it out for me and look at a bigger landscape and across country. It's an interesting landscape. And Dr. John, the personalities, that's what makes this fun. Navigating all of the varied personalities. Hi, Pat. Good morning. Thanks for being here. Navigating the personalities is always an adventure. You never know what you're going to get here. You never know.
That is true. I've got to explain one of my first posts this morning. I should be almost in Idaho right now. I'm going over to a Boise suburb to see some friends. I was about to get on the interstate, and I get a call from the same daughter that interrupted me. She said, "Where are you?" I said, "I'm just ready to get on the interstate." She said, "Don't. It's all backed up." They had a bunch of snow in Bozeman Pass anyway. So I turned around. I probably won't go to tomorrow. But then I get a text from her that somebody on Facebook said they have been stopped in the Bozeman Pass since 3:00 this morning.
Oh, that's dangerous. That's dangerous. Well, I'm glad you avoided that, and a lot of credit to the daughter for hooking you up there, man. I'm glad you're safe. It makes me nervous.
Yeah.
It makes me nervous the way you're all over the place all the time, man. It's you're a mover and a shaker, man.
You blow that way out of proportion, my friend.
No, every week you ask for my flight here. My other girlfriend's over there. The limo's picking me up to go here. I'm playing golf with Jack Nicklaus and Tiger Woods tomorrow. Every day you got a different story of where you're going.
Come on. Give me a break. Oh, dude. Anyway, I got some cautionary notes for you. Okay.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. Give me the caution. Give me the caution.
Well, you used the phrase again today, and I'm concerned that our beloved Commander Luke may jump on it and have proof that he thinks that you've been lying about things, because, if you use the phrase, "to be honest," that means
you're usually not.
You mean at times you're not honest?
Yeah. By default, then that means,
anyway.
Yeah, I get it. Like intellectually, You're kind of saying your default setting is the other way. I get it. It's just a phrase of speech.
Yeah. Anyway, some football. I saw your comment about Morrison. What's going on?
I don't know for sure, but I've had a couple different people kind of nudge me in the direction of kind of a long recovery there with the situation with the shoulder, and you're going to be bumping up to the season here, and there's just questions of where that's all going to be and where it's going to end up. That's all I'm allowed to say, but there are concerns about
surgery.
I mean, I believe he did. And I'm just told that recovery is a little iffy to be ready for the season and what's going to happen. It's something to watch. So that makes me nervous.
All right. Well, the other football thing I had, I didn't do any research on it, but I got to believe this is the first year that Freeman has more of his guys than more of Kelly's guys. You think that is true?
Run that by me one more time. I'm sorry.
I think it's the first year that the squad is the higher percentage of Freeman's people that he's recruited than what he found when Kelly left.
Yeah, this will be the first year that you will start to see the flip over between the Kelly guys phasing out and then the Freeman guys in. And so now you have a pretty good blend. And then after that, it's going to be the Freeman guys, and you're losing a lot on your defense next year. And you're going to find out if you recruited good enough and if these guys could play. Because next year will be the year you're really rolling it over and there's no excuse, and then it's on Freeman. And if you didn't recruit and develop, you're going to find out.
Well, I'd been poo-pooing this third-year thing, but looking at it this way, there probably is some truth to that third-year theory. So it's going to be interesting. I get a kick out of the fact that if we lose that first game, we're going to go 10-2. There's no reason you can't still go 11-1. But I don't think we're going to lose that first game. I really don't.
Yeah, week one is really, really interesting. I get the theory, though, because people are thinking they don't think A&M's going to be that great. So if you lose to them week one, then they're figuring you're probably bound to lose somewhere else, too, if you're not good enough to beat them. But I also see number one as being a totally unique animal. Week one for every college team, there's just goofy stuff that happens. Everybody's not put together yet. Week one is kind of a standalone week, although the narratives that come out of week one kind of drive the first half of the season. So week one's an interesting experiment, man. Everybody looks to it all summer and it gets outsized. It gets magnified.
I agree. Yeah, it is. Anyway, what else I got here for you? I was a little disturbed with that Kent call, but
Me too.
I'm not sure what set him off.
I don't know. I don't know. Listen.
I don't know. I don't know what it was, but
I really do.
The other comment I'm going to, yeah.
It would be boring. I try and be the show that gives more rope to the difficult people or the trolls, because I can usually, go along with it or fight back and have a back and forth or whatever. Sometimes it exhausts me. Sometimes I'm up for it. It just depends on the moment.
Well, the other thought I had this morning, when I was reading some of the negative stuff in chat, was this probably comes from my basic child psychology course at Notre Dame. Long ago, but I can't help but think some people are compensating for their own underachievement. Maybe is a good term. I don't know. That's some pop psychology by somebody that.
Man, now you're getting deep. Yeah, you're getting deep there in those details. Oh man,
I know.
Wait, we got to be careful if we want to start digging into the mental situation of all the Notre Dame fans. All right, it's dangerous.
Well, I just hope they don't ask for me to be examined. That's all.
Yeah.
My physical, I passed great. My annual was great, but they didn't do any mental evaluation. So.
Well, that's good.
That's still a suspect.
Yeah, Dr. John, we're going to see a before you found Always Irish and after, and see if your brain activity's gone down any in the last couple of years. It lines right up with me, and it's just like down we go.
You're all your viewers and people in chat, they keep you on your toes. That's good. That's good.
Oh,
hey, keeps you young. But keeps you young.
Yeah.
All right. Go get them.
All right.
For the show. And
have a good one.
Hopefully it looks like I won't be leaving for Idaho until tomorrow morning. So.
Well, safe
have a great
travels. Show. Yep. Thank you.
Okay, bud. You take care of yourself.
Yep. Safe travels, and tell your 4 girlfriends in the hot tub we said what's up. That man's an international player. We would never finish examining John. Dr. John or me, John? I admit it. My brain's a weird place. But I still maintain this. I got a lot of weird concepts and philosophies in life that a lot of people don't understand or couldn't live by, or it doesn't make sense. There's nothing that, no axiom, there's nothing I do or live by or whatever that I don't have a reason for. You may not understand it or think I'm crazy, but all of the weird crap in my brain, none of it's random. I could give you a reason for the theory that makes sense to me. So I admit that I have a lot of weird personality nuances, but I got reasons for them. I could justify them all. They're not random. What else? Oh boy, man. My main man Martinez, 385, make it come alive. We got a few callers after that too, so you could come right up. What's going on?
Hey John, you there?
I'm there.
Hey man, we're here, we're there. No better podcast anywhere. No wine and cheesers, only blue collar greasers. Hosted by Mr. John Kennedy's Always Irish Show. Give him a hand. Give him a hand.
Oh,
How you doing, buddy?
man, I love your energy, dude. Your energy's like 50 cups of coffee just put right into my brain. I love you. How you doing out there, man? Like, dude, man, what do you make of all this? You got people that are like, Freeman's awesome. You got people that think that he's not doing a good enough job. What's the reality here, man?
Let me tell you this, okay? And I'm gonna break it down, man. I don't, like I told you when I first started, I don't like being one of those X's and O's dudes and that I played this and I played that. But I've been around some people, I've had friends, I've had relationships that have gone on to the pros, that have had careers in the pros. And like I said, I coached the school that I coached here in Utah, the one that I was a part of. Nick Saban used to come here to recruit. Pete Carroll, before he left, used to come here to recruit. So I'm not tooting my horn, but the thing for me is, and like I've said it before, there's more to coaching than just winning, because then we're going to get, I mean, take, for example, I was thinking as people were talking, take, for example, Maurice Claret. Maurice Claret from Ohio State, probably one of the greatest freshmen to ever step field on the college football field. Another one is Lawrence Phillips. Nebraska, man, I loved watching Lawrence Phillips, man, from Nebraska during those championship years with Tommy Frazier and them, right? What happened to him? Lawrence Phillips ended up dying in prison. Okay, so the reason why I'm bringing this up, because for me, and the way that I've gone, and I've loved watching, Audrey Denson to me also probably, and I'm being biased, probably, the greatest underrated college football running back, in history. I loved watching Audrey Denson. I was a teenager when he was at Notre Dame. But for me, it's always about not just creating better athletes, but better men. And you hit it on the head when you say his work ethic is unmatched. His coach's work ethic is unmatched. And I think that goes a long way. You know what I mean? That's my opinion. Because you got to remember, I came from and I know how the other Irish fans and their backgrounds, and I'm not always trying to fall back to that, but I came really rough, and there was some good coaches, man, that said to me, hey, man, I don't know the gangs, I don't know that life, but I know poverty, and I know hard work, and I know I know how it is to come from immigrant parents, because he came from Greek immigrant. My high school coach came from Greek immigrant parents, and I know how it is to live poor. And man, that man, from my rough days to when I was at my university days, he never once turned his back on me. So my point is, for me as an Irish fan, to like, and I've said this over and over, for Freeman to teach him about patriotism, because his dad was a vet, to teach him about how to be a good father, a better man, and all that things. I think that those boys, now that we got the pieces where we need, with Denbrock, with Golden, McConaughey, Mickenstein, Max Bulla. Man, I can't get enough of loving that dude, man.
Yeah, his energy.
That linebacker coach, I think not.
Yeah, his energy. You see the clips? Did you see the spring clips of him in practice? He was like going at the guys with the full pads, like running into them, and he was all engaged. Love him. His energy is perfect. And he's in a position group that has infinite upside and possibilities now with those linebackers. Can't wait to see it.
Yeah, man. And so for me as a fan, and for me in the way that I've lived, the way I'm looking at it is like, man, we got a coach that's engaged and teaching these kids not to be better not just to be better athletes, but better men. And I think when the pieces are finally put in place as far as talent goes, like how the previous caller too from Dr. John called, I think we're gonna be just fine, man. I think we keep beating a dead horse. The one thing that I do disagree with is going after Riley Leonard, because I'm not hoping he gets hurt, but I just think, when you've had an injury that hasn't healed in 6 months that we caused, I think teams that are gunning for us, they're gonna try to exploit that injury, and so
yeah,
that's
they definitely will. They definitely will. You know what else too? Goolsby brought this up to me. He said to me the other day, he goes, John, this is gonna sound really stupid, but he goes, there's a scenario where Riley Leonard, the guy you paid big NIL to come here and be the starter, gets injured, and it ends up being the best thing that's ever happened to the program, because it'll force them to get those young guys going, and then we'll see something different. And I don't want that to happen, but he's like, you could end up in a position where it actually ends up moving Notre Dame forward and not backwards. I don't know. I struggle with that, but it's a thought out there.
No, and you know what? I don't want to see no kids get injured, man. Like I said, I coached. I know how hard these boys work. You know what I mean? Like if I had that work ethic, maybe I would have gone on to a JC, but I didn't. I was just naturally talented, and I didn't work like these boys do now, man.
Yeah.
You know, and I've seen how hard these boys work, and I don't want to see them get hurt. But I can't deny that that's most likely a true statement.
Yeah. And then, hey, what do you make what do you make of not a lot of guys going to the portal out of Notre Dame? Do you just say the grass isn't always greener, or that's more about Notre Dame and guys wanting to stick around for their degree? Or is it the culture Freeman's building, guys want to be a part of it? Or do you think it's a little bit of all of that? Like, I don't know the answer. I'm just asking what people think.
I think it's a little bit about what you said, because I mean, and like I tell you, I love Notre Dame. Like I said, I got season tickets to the women's because me and my daughter, the women's basketball team, my daughter, big fans of that program. If you look at your research, a long time ago, Notre Dame was not just ranked in the top 10, but ranked in the top 3 in ROI, on return of investment per degree. Yeah. And that was, I think they were only behind MIT and like Yale, and then went Notre Dame. So I think that's one aspect that they're aware of that. And I think the other aspect is the culture that Notre Dame is bringing. It's like Autry Denson said it best. When you're a student, you're trying to hurry up and graduate from Notre Dame. When you get into the real world, you spend your life trying to get back to Notre Dame. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, man.
And so I think it's part. I think it's part of the culture as well.
Yeah, I just think I don't know, man. It's interesting. This is such a big year, man. There's so much pressure, and week 1 is going to be built up so much. This is a huge year. Like, all these Notre Dame fans that are half in, half out on Freeman want to kind of buy in, but need to see more. This needs to be the year.
It does. He has to have a 10-win at the minimum impact season, and then get us a win in one of them first round games in the playoffs. But I'm not worried, man. Like I told you, more than anything, even my concern was the linebacker room. But now as I've listened to Malik and the other reporter, and then they had Reggie Brooks on there, and Reggie Brooks, he's part of that national championship. He was a freaking stud. He was on there, and he said, "Man, the culture that Freeman's creating, the athletes he's getting, is almost similar to what we were doing back when we were playing with Lou Holtz. So that's kind of that's kind of refreshing too, man. But
but listen,
it is a big year, John.
Dude, I totally understand people that are like, yeah, John, you're saying it's going to be good. Let me see the results. I'm fine with that if that's your position. But I do hope. Here's what I'd like. You could say, I want to believe, I got to see it to believe it, or whatever, blah, 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 blah. Fine. But you also have to kind of I'm just asking people to look at the changes. Like the game results are one part of the equation, and an outsized one, because they're the ultimate most important. But I also ask you to look at the culture. Look at the vibe. Look at, do people want to work for the guy and be in the program? Look at the recruiting. Do you feel good about how that's going? Like, look at NIL stuff in the alumni relations. Like, there's all these other things you got to look at and see how they're trending. Freeman's got all these areas trending up, but you need to get the results on the field, or it isn't going to matter that much. That's the bottom line, and that's where I think a lot of people are positioned.
Yeah, John, and unfortunately, that's true. When money like that's involved, and we've been having that job for 35 years. Unfortunately, that's the truth, man. You hit the nail on the head right there. All that stuff that he's doing to trend up, building better men, not just better athletes.
Yeah.
What does he say? Not, don't beat Notre Dame. Only Notre Dame can beat Notre Dame. Don't be another reason to beat Notre Dame. Unfortunately, that won't fall into place, man, if he doesn't get those victories and the ones that the fan base is looking for.
Yeah.
And that's unfortunate, you know what I mean? But one thing, like I'll tell you, John, I won't take up too much of your time because I got to get my cruise going. But here's the thing. Like I've told you, and you know this, I sent my daughter to probably the most storied basketball program, women's program in the state of Utah, because it patterned themselves after Notre Dame. You know what I mean? And for me, like I tell you, I absolutely love the school. I love the university, man. You know what I mean? I love everything about it, you know, and sometimes when I get off topic, it's because my mind's running faster than what it is. But one thing I bring that up because no matter what school we played, they had a target on their back. My daughter, her senior season for the region championship, they fouled out 4 seniors. How do you foul out 4 seniors? How do you foul out 4 starters in a region championship game? Because we had a target on our back. If we, as the fan base, keep putting a target on people's back that are trying to up the program, we're never going to get over that hump, man.
Yeah.
You guys could have said our local media has to take it on easy because the national media hates us. Everybody hates us. Why join a conference? Why should we join a conference? You guys owe us a favor. We taught you guys how to travel across country. I'm going to tell you this. The SEC is dog shit. They're the biggest dog shit pretending, want to be tough guy. I'll meet your ass in my alley any day. Effing guys, man, because you know what? They won't leave past Texas. They won't leave past Texas. They play 3 junior high teams. Half of their 8 other teams are dog shit. Only Alabama, Georgia, and LSU's been relevant. And this is what I say, because they give us a hard time. Why should we always have to give ourselves such a hard time when the rest of the world's giving us a hard time and giving the damn SEC a pass? They are dog shit, man. You're gonna see, watch, like I told you, you're gonna see when Michigan has to travel down to SC and when they gotta travel up to Stanford and when they gotta travel cross country, how exhausted they're gonna be, how exhausted their kids are gonna be. But what does the SEC do? They just go get teams in their region so they can bust here, bust there, bust everywhere. But John, I didn't mean to get heated, man. I hate the SEC. I hate them more than I hate Michigan.
Oh, man, I love your energy. I love your energy. And listen, I'm the last guy that could ever criticize somebody for getting mad on the phone line. So God bless you, sir. Thanks for the $5 hour. Yeah. And you have a good day out there, man. Yeah. Have a good one. Thank you.
Too. One last thing.
Yeah.
Did you see the photo I sent you through the email with me and the world handball champ?
You know what? I did, but I was looking for something else. Let me go back through it today. I'll respond to you. I saw something from you, but I didn't dig into it yet.
No, but the funny thing, he teaches at Texas A&M. So on the picture, he's got a Texas A&M shirt, and I got my Notre Dame gear on. That's, hey, man, I love it, John. John, love you guys.
Thank you.
Notre Dame, buddy.
There you go. Love the energy, man. That dude he will wake you up in the morning, man. He will wake you up. Stop with the people want to work with the guy stuff. Everybody hated Meyer as a boss, but they all wanted to work for him because he won. Stop it, John. No. How about that? No. It isn't just the people on the staff. It's the people in the building. It's relationship with the power brokers that have the money. It isn't just like the assistants when I'm saying this. It's how you work with the donor network, the people in the building. There's just a lot that goes into it. But I do think it's funny, man. There's a lot of people that like to tell me how to run my own show. I'm sorry, you guys. I do the best I can, and I do what I want. If you don't like it, create your own show, and then you can not talk about Kelly at all, and you can block Kent and Uncle Luke. Like, you guys can do whatever you want to do, man. I just navigate this day to day in the most fun way that comes to my brain. I don't know. Oh, boy. And the other thing too is, and this goes for me and everybody else, you could just like not pay attention to Kent. Like if he writes something that bothers you, we could all just scroll by and ignore it. Like there's certain times I want to highlight stuff, and there's other times where I don't want to put a spotlight on it, and then you just keep scrolling. Like you could do you could do whatever you want with that. 219, you're on the line. What's going on? Welcome to the show. Or not. 219, you're on the line. No, we don't, Stylight. That did not go over well last time. He had harsh words for my people, and my people had harsh words for him. They did not, but he did kind of go after the Notre Dame people. He really kind of did. And then our people went back at him, and then Sweaty Mike, he went after our people, though. He kind of did. 219, I brought you up on the line, and it was not fine. I don't know where you went. 937, what's going on?
Hey, how's it going, John? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you. Thanks for giving me a call. What's going on?
Oh, beautiful. Well, not a whole lot. Well, I got to say, you must be killing the algorithm, because it's amazing that people don't know how the internet works. You found your show. They could easily just block and go watch something else, but
man,
apparently you're their first stumble upon here.
Dude, you're never going to make anybody happy. I don't know, man. It's really hard. Some people love when I yell about BK and other people hate it. Like when Freeman, it's weird the stuff some people are just have no appetite for and other people want more of. I just do the best I can day to day to have a laugh. I don't know.
Well, I think what's more interesting is the defense that comes out with the Brian Kelly through all that crazy speech. Because I actually have a little signed mini helmet by Brian Kelly right now. And if somebody has a Marcus Freeman one, I'll trade him without a buyout clause or anything. Like, I'll take that right now from him.
Yeah. Yeah.
But still, you guys defend him. But the actual thought I had, though, and it's from one of the callers earlier about the quarterbacks. But what's crazy to think about with, our history at the position over the last, who wants to count amount of years. But I do think what's funny is that I think we're kind of on the brink of possibly being looked at as a QBU with what we're bringing in here with our quarterback room, and then also with Den Brockover having just made a Heisman. Because, we got the year with Riley Leonard. We'll see how that turns out here. But then with all the guys stacked behind him, it's going to get the attention of recruits too if we start to see Notre Dame as a quarterback school, which will lead to fixing that receiver room like we saw with Ohio State when they had not only, like Fields, Strouds back to back, but then also had their transfer skilling it like Joe Burrow in LSU. And then also, Quinn Ewers is oddly in that same timeline, even though this is his 19th year coming up in college. But so, yeah, I think it's like it could be if you build it, it will come kind of thing with a huge 360 of how we're looked at in the quarterback position. But oddly enough, I think with that too, like
you're right. Sorry, it's totally flipping. And again, like I repeated earlier, you're gonna have flexibility where more than one guy could be the guy, and that gives you some flexibility, some options, margin to play with, to hitch your wagon to the right guy. It's all changing, but none of it's been proven on the field yet. And there's a certain percentage of people that aren't going to buy in until they see those results. And I can't tell you that's not right or fair, but I can acknowledge things are trending in the right direction while I'm waiting to see those results. That's where I'm at. But some people don't want to even see that and acknowledge it till you get the on the field results.
Well, it goes back to your joke to Dr. John about the psychological experiment. There's a one-question test that can diagnose your psychological status, and that's, are you a Notre Dame fan? We've seen this movie too many times before, I think, that we don't want to get fooled. But I know that there's a lot of things with obviously going to this year with, Marcus Freeman, and then, obviously like the transfer of, the recruits coming in. But I think that this year could be, to the quarterback aspect, huge too, because if Riley Leonard stays healthy and doesn't have, the success that he wants, it could be pretty damning. Because if we look at Sam Hartman, he had accomplished everything that he could possibly do, like broke all the Wake Forest records, is a leading passer in the conference, and then it came to Notre Dame to improve his draft stock and then didn't get drafted, So if Riley Leonard does the same thing and we have this whole transfer come in and, if he gets hurt, that's totally different, because if he doesn't play, but let's say he plays all, 12 and then hopefully plus games and doesn't have great success and doesn't improve his draft stock, we might be looking at, why go play quarterback at Notre Dame? So it's kind of like a weird, like teeter-totter that we're on, which of course I'm a Notre Dame fan too, does great for my mental health, but not not great, but like, it's crazy how close this could be. Cause again, I don't know if you agree with that, but like if Leonard plays the whole time and doesn't do great, who's going to want to play quarterback at Notre Dame?
Well, fortunately, hopefully, I mean, CJ Carr does, and Deuce theoretically does.
Yeah,
so like
right.
you're right. Like if you already have Carr there, so it's like if the Riley Leonard thing doesn't end up great, the way this, let's be honest, the way the Sam Hartman thing went, kind of down that path. Listen, let me ask you this. Are you ready for Notre Dame to turn the page on the transfer guy and hitch their wagon to one of these younger guys
absolutely.
with big upside?
Absolutely.
But I struggle with it.
Again, we have no excuse with the room.
But I struggle with this because you see a lot of the top teams going and getting portal guys and they plug them in and they have really good success or whatever. And I'm not crapping on the concept, but for where Notre Dame's at, I just feel like there's a missing like stability that you would have of having a multiple year guy that you knew was going to be there and you could grow and develop with the team around him. I just feel that people are getting a little burnt out with the transfer thing. There's not near as much juice with Riley Leonard as there was with Hartman. And so
Of course.
It's going to be interesting, man. And I have concerns about injury all year at that quarterback spot. I don't know what's going to happen.
But then to your point there too, like of, you know, if we can do, so obviously we laid out the horrible scenario of like, if it goes well, you know, like he's healthy, but doesn't go well. But then on the flip side of that, you know, we're lined up for hopefully on paper being completely set because, you know, talk about Notre Dame being all about culture. If we have this be like, okay, yeah, we ran the necessary back-to-back transfers, but then we have, just for the sake of it, I'll skip this, whoever next year, you know,
Yeah.
And then we have CJ Carr playing for a couple years. Then we have Deuce coming in for a couple years. It could set the tone that like, hey, it's worth sitting to at Notre Dame because then you get to play 2 great years with a great roster. Like could be the, you know, place you go. And then also huge benefit of that. Hey, turns out you get a 4-year degree from the best ROI stat that was awesome that the guy threw out earlier, you know?
Yeah.
So everything goes well. You do build that culture of here's what we do at Notre Dame. If you're a top quarterback, you have to be okay with this because it's the way that we structure it and you'll become a champion, you know? So that's what we're on the brink of seeing, but I'm totally with you. Like, I think it was necessary. I'm not mad at the Hartman or Riley decision, but if we keep doing it, we can't. That's how Notre Dame is for one. But then also just for the function. I mean, Denbrock's not going to want to do that, even though he's obviously capable, but so we'll see. But I think, you know, there's a lot of question marks coming into year 3, obviously, but I think, you know, not that the quarterback's been under discussed, but I think that we dive so into the what, like the big picture gets lost sometimes of what this could mean. Last year and going forward.
Dude, I feel stuck where I see a lot of really good things. I always talk about like these arrows with the program on the field and off the field, different things that have to do with it. And is the trajectory pointing up or down in all these areas? And I see so many areas where Notre Dame's trending up on and off the field with recruiting, with changes behind the scenes. They're trying to get more flexibility in the portal and with the academics and all that and build up NIL. People want to work for Freeman. The fundraising's good. Like there's all these things. I see it all trending up, but we haven't seen it pay off on the field yet. And so I end up in a very awkward spot. And some people are telling me I'm overvaluing some of those things. And so I just need it all to line up together where you could just see the tangible evidence. See, people are saying that's all great. Go win games. I'm just telling you, it puts me in a weird spot because a lot of people don't want to recognize anything behind the scenes and just look at the results on the field. And you're ignoring that 98% of college football doesn't happen on Saturdays. That's where I get messed up. 98% of college football doesn't happen on Saturdays, but the 2% you see on a Saturday's the biggest part.
But even, that's,
so it's a real
thing.
I end up in the middle of that.
But even the 2%, I think is an overreaction to, because what was the big thing that Freeman was brought in for? Is that we were tired of being so close, not winning the big games, not getting the big recruits. That was the big frustration of, that's why Brian Kelly left. You know, he was the winningest coach of all time and left because he felt like we didn't win the big games because we couldn't get the big players. in the short amount of time. We look at the recruiting classes. Has that improved? Again, that's the 98% we're talking about. But has that improved? Mission accomplished there very quickly already. It's only going to improve from there. Like you said, arrows pointing up. But then also, the games, we haven't really won or lost. Like we're not like blowing all big games. And then also look at arrows pointing up. Obviously, a lot of disasters that need to be cleaned up. But we're not losing to Marshall. Like Louisville was a bad one, obviously. But then we go back and we spank USC. We spank some good teams. So the actual question marks who's brought in for those arrows are up. Just don't we haven't won a national championship yet. We haven't won a playoff game yet, but that's been a while before that too.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Again, I've got a helmet that's up for a straight swap if someone has a Freeman one.
A straight. Yeah. I don't know how many takers you're gonna have. So listen, it is and here again, I come back to this all the time. It's just like, John, you got to hold Freeman accountable. I don't know what else you want me to say, man. The mistakes need to end. He's got to be better in-game coach, all that stuff. Mm-hmm. He's got to get better at that. I'm just saying on a foundational level, I really like a lot of what he's building. I really like it, but it's got to pay off on the field in a bigger way. And for everybody to agree, and I totally understand that. Sometimes I get frustrated because I know all the BS that goes on behind the scenes that you got to navigate. And Freeman's doing a really, really good, classy job there. No one wants to hear it, though, because it isn't a win on the field. No one wants to hear it. But all that stuff is what leads to the big wins on the field. That's my point.
Mm-hmm. And then also, too, everyone recognizes this is the make or break year. Why is everyone trying to pawn it off as a break already? Because again, if this season does go horribly, I think you and I have the same mindset, obviously, on Freeman. I think we'll change our tone quite a bit if this season doesn't go well, because again, with every position group arguing, that we can argue our holes and everything, but things are very much trending up. So if that's the case and the result,
dude, but again, see, now I'm getting pissed off again. Just from what I said, 2 seconds ago, now I got all these people in the chat going, I don't care what happens behind the scenes. If it doesn't matter on the field, whatever. You got to go to the store and cook the ingredients to make a damn meal. You got to go cook. You got to go get the ingredients to cook the meal. The other guy refused to do it the right way. Respect the process.
When I was a kid, I didn't understand. We were at a festival one time, and my mom was like, "Oh, we don't have money for that." And I was like, "Well, there's a money machine right there." And she goes, "Well, that's still we have to go to the bank and put money." And I was like, "Oh, that's how that works." But these people are, sitting at the table.
I just thought you hit a button and the money comes out, Mom. Just go hit the button and we get free money. Yeah. But dude, see,
how
this
is Mom? Just go to the machine.
This is what I'm frustrated with. It takes pulling together all of the stuff that I'm referencing, all going in the right direction to end up getting the results you want on the field. And he's doing a good job of that. Now we need to see the results, or we don't, and then he doesn't get over the hump. But I'm just saying, it's really short-sighted to ignore all those other things that you need to put your team in a position to get to the next level. Kelly didn't do all that, and you saw the results. This guy's trying to do that, and we're going to see the results. I just don't understand why people are so against giving him credit for the things he's building behind the scenes that are a requirement for it to end up different on the field. He's trying to do that. Yeah. Go along for the ride.
And especially if all you care about is the product on the field, then you damn well better care about what's going on off of it, because that's how we get there. I don't see how one cannot go with the other. All I care about is yes.
But it sounds like excuses.
If you understand how you win on that day, you look at what's going on outside of that.
It's because of the excuses.
About the years,
that's it.
We're not talking about last year. We're talking about this coming year, which is why to talk about what happened between last year and this coming year. If we could play football today, I'd rather talk about that. but we have to wait.
Yeah, that's a good point too. Yeah.
So we got to talk about the things going on as we wait.
You know what? That's
What the
another, on a programming note, you bring up a good point. There's 12 days a year that I actually get to talk about a game. Everything else is the fill that's around it. Give me a break for trying to fill content in May. Jesus.
You're going to have 2 burst lungs by Texas A&M.
Man, it wears me out. And I would like Freeman to deliver on the field at a level where everybody could buy in and go, all right, I'm proud of our guy. He's doing a good job. I don't know what it's going to take. Jesus.
Yeah, what a crazy thought of yours.
Man, it's just,
of course.
Man,
yeah.
I really struggle with this stuff. So whatever, man, everybody wants perfect. And I just right away and everything, I lose my patience sometimes. I really do.
Well, then I guess the point of being on the brink of QBU, I guess no one cares about that then because it's not the game that's happening this afternoon.
Well, but we haven't seen QBU yet. That's only potential, and potential doesn't put trophies in the case. Yeah, right. Potential doesn't matter. Did you beat A&M yet? Do you have a Heisman guy yet? Are you in the winning playoff games? Then it doesn't matter. We're not interested in the recruiting. Like, I don't know, man.
It's not counting your chickens before they hatch.
Bro,
you should definitely know how many chickens you have.
Dude,
you got to know the potential that's out there.
But seriously, man, for so long I took crap as being the glass half empty guy, and then now that I try and be positive, I take crap for that too. I can't win. I can never get it and balance it in the middle. I took shit all through the Kelly era for being a glass half empty negative Nancy guy when I said I was a realistic Ricky, but I was the negative Nancy and everybody was hating on John for being negative. Now I'm trying to look at it on the plus side and appreciate what this guy's doing that is done the right way. And now people don't like that. Now I'm a Freeman lover and whatever. So I guess I just can't win and I'm just bound to disappoint the people no matter which way I go.
Yeah. Well, what's funny is I found your show like right around the Ohio State game from this past year, which I was at that game. We don't have to dive into.
Oh, God bless you.
Stuck around for too. But what I loved about it though, I was like, all right, thank God I'm not the only like psychopath about this.
Yeah.
Like it felt good to not like misery loves company, but just like I can't be the only one who cares.
This is the place.
Like to honestly an unhealthy level.
No way around it. Oh yeah, this is the place. You found the right support group.
Right. But also, I like to celebrate when we beat the hell out of USC. You got to have that duality too. You can't be like, no, I like it when John gets pissed. Let's rile him up.
Yeah,
getting excited causes emotion too. That's fun as well.
Yeah, but it really is. It really is healthy for me to get it all out. Hey man, I really appreciate the call. You got anything else? Yep, and you know what else I want to? You know what else I want to thank you for? Crystal clear phone line, baby. I don't know if you live at an AT&T facility or what, but that is the clearest line I've ever heard, and it makes my job easier. Thank you very much.
Well, I'm working from home, and the work is in quotations, if you can tell by this conversation. So this is a work headset. So if anyone, a headset works straight through John's line for anyone who has one.
Oh, I appreciate you, man. Thanks a lot. Great call. Call me again, buddy. Thank you.
Have a good one, John.
Take care. See ya.
Doing what you're doing.
Oh, I don't know what's going on, but everybody's lively today. We got calls out the wazoo. I don't know what's happening, man. It's the middle of May. 224 and then 573 are coming after that. I also got a 248. I got a 937. What's going on? 224.
Hey, what's up, John? How are you, man?
I don't know, man. Andrew, sometimes I don't know where I stand here. It's either too positive, too negative. I struggle to straddle the line in between to make everybody happy. Who the hell knows? Whatever.
Oh, I hear you. I want to just bounce something off of you because, like, I think I had a pretty good realization, and I'd like to get your opinion on it. Did you see the 247 article that listed the top 10 head coaching jobs in college football, and it had Notre Dame outside the top 10?
I don't think I did see that. I've seen listings similar to that, but if it was recent, I did not see the one you're referencing. So they did not have Notre Dame in the top 10. And did they give reasons for their positioning? I mean,
And I think the reason they gave was really stupid. I mean, so the guy who wrote the article, I think it's one of those sort of off season let's trash Notre Dame kind of articles that just always seem to come out, like Stephen A. Smith or Paul Feinbaum. They're always good to like trash Notre Dame. But I think, like, I was really thinking about it. I think that they're just totally off if they think Notre Dame's not, a top 10 job. And I think particularly, and this is the idea I wanted to bounce off you, John, particularly if you look at what's going on at LSU right now. Brian Kelly, I think, made a major miscalculation. And the reason why I say that is traditionally over the last 20 years prior to the transfer portal and NIL becoming, a huge, huge thing, like great schools like LSU, Bama, Georgia to a certain extent, Ohio State, they could just stack rosters with super talent from their state. And they could live off that and really blow out teams like Notre Dame, blow out teams like Michigan. But don't you think NIL has totally changed it? Look how Brian Kelly is struggling to get a defensive line. Like, would that have happened pre-NIL and pre-portal? And so the reason why I bring this up is Notre Dame is sort of unique in the fact that if you're a Notre Dame type guy, chances are you want to stay at Notre Dame. And then I think what Jim Harbaugh proved last year, whether you want to say he's a cheater or not, I think he did build a winning culture at Michigan. He took guys who were maybe not 5 stars and developed them. But I don't recall Michigan having any major portal exodus. And so what I think in the new modern era football, teams like Notre Dame and Michigan are going to be much more competitive against the SEC because they keep their teams together. Whereas the SEC is constantly feeding off of each other, stealing each other's depth. And I think LSU is feeling that right now. I was shocked when I read Joel Klatt's top 25. I mean, he had LSU at 14 and basically had a grim outlook. He said, the only reason why I'm putting him at 14 is I sort of trust Brian Kelly as a coach, but they lost so much off their team from last year. I don't feel good. So, like, in a weird way, Marcus Freeman is better positioned in year 3 than Brian Kelly. And I'm pretty shocked by that. What are your thoughts?
I think does it seem to you like depth is going to be the thing where, like, a lot of this is like, if you're not going to be a frontline guy at one of those big schools, you're going to go somewhere where you are going to be able to play? Are you saying that, like, kind of that lack of depth helps level the playing field out overall because of the way guys are going to move around to go play right away? Is that what you're thinking?
I think it's depth and continuity. You know what I mean? Like, how do you build continuity from year to year if you're really flipping your roster over, constantly?
Yeah.
I think a team like Michigan was able to do that 3-year build because they pretty much had the bones in place, and so they were able to really develop. I just think it's sort of like how I equate it to is, remember like Kevin Garnett, like where pre-high schoolers going to the NBA, like the blue blood schools just absolutely dominated college basketball because they could stack those stars and they would just whip mid-majors because mid-majors just had, you know what I mean? Like a 4-year starter at a mid-major can't beat a 3-year starter at North Carolina. But when dudes started going to the pros super early and it started thinning out and everybody's fighting over that 18-year-old star, a major could take an average guy, develop him over 4 years, and they can beat him in the NCAA tournament. So I think that I think that makes Notre Dame just on its own. Like you take the prestige out of Notre Dame, you take the money you make at Notre Dame, the star power you get from being a coach at Notre Dame. I think Notre Dame's selling proposition, like, hey, we recruit guys who are not all about the NIL. They're not all about, like having to start first day. I think that that's going to be a major positive as NIL and transfer portal continue to, eat these rosters. Because, like, even look at Alabama. They were mortal last year. They looked very beatable last year. And then at least 20 guys off their team this year. I mean, you just don't see that at programs like Notre Dame and Michigan. So I think that's weirdly, when the NIL and portal came out, I was like, oh, this is going to be awful for Notre Dame because Notre Dame just will not, won't bend the rules and stuff like that. But in a weird way, I think it could end up being a positive.
Yeah, man, it's going to be interesting to see how it all plays. And it is, I don't know, man. Why do you think you saw lower numbers in the portal this spring? Why do you think you saw that? They were anticipating like a wild thing with people moving all over, and we really didn't see that. Why do you think that is? Do you think it was just unique to this one cycle? Or do you think it's a bigger sign overall that maybe some of this is chilling out with the bouncing all over? I don't know what to make of it, but everybody built it up to be a wild period, and it really didn't end up being that. And I'm just trying to wonder why.
Well, I think it relates to what I'm just saying. I think the type of person who goes to Notre Dame is not like these greedy, 5-star guys who bounce after a year. You know what I mean? Like Notre Dame just doesn't go after those kinds of guys.
Yeah.
Now, I think the big caveat to that, the huge caveat, is they're still competitors. And so if Marcus Freeman drops the ball and doesn't win games, Notre Dame could have an exodus. I'm not saying that it's foolproof. You got to go out and you got to win games. You got to keep these guys motivated and really competitive.
Yeah.
But I just think that it's sort of like how Duke, like in the 90s, they would recruit a certain type of player and they were always really good. I think Notre Dame and Michigan can kind of stay the course recruiting the same type of guys who are going to be 4 or 5 year players for you, versus Alabama and Georgia. No, probably not Georgia. They have a really good culture, but Alabama, LSU, Miami, they not only have to recruit these 5-star guys, they've got to re-recruit them every single offseason.
Yeah.
And so I just think that that's probably bad for the locker room. It's bad for continuity. And so I think that's where a team like Notre Dame can succeed. So yeah, that's my point on that. And I do have a point on Mike Goolsby's comment too. But yeah, what are your thoughts on that? I think Notre Dame is actually set up pretty well for the future if Freeman can just come through and win big games.
Yeah, man. Andrew, do you understand why I feel like I'm stuck in between? I see a lot of the markers trending in the direction I want them to trend, but we haven't gotten the full results on the field, so people aren't bought in. I get it. It just puts me in a place where I'm waiting for the results to verify or prove that I'm wrong, and all that other stuff behind the scenes doesn't matter as much as I think it does, and all the relationships and the recruiting and the way you treat people and all the crap that I talk about that people don't like hearing. I feel like I'm in between and I'm waiting. And you are right, Andrew. You better get it in 24, 25. You got a lot of talent to replace. That could be a little tricky as you navigate that year. You better get it done this year.
I guess my frustration is I feel, and it's not you, John, because you've always been really fair to me, but I feel like specifically online, if you don't smooch Marcus Freeman, there's like a very loyal fan base that really just calls you a hater and says you're against him. I have never been against Marcus Freeman. I just try to look at Notre Dame objectively, and I think that there's a lot of good that we've gotten from Marcus Freeman, but you have to accept that there's been some really troubling stuff. Like I think an earlier caller made a great point. Winning 8 games with Drew Pine is like a small miracle. I mean, that guy is not a Division I Power 5 quarterback. At the same time, you have to acknowledge that Marcus Freeman made a mistake to allow Tommy Rees to talk him into going with Buckner and Pine. Ultimately, the buck stops with you. You're the head coach. You could have gone out in the transfer portal and gotten a quarterback. So other things, like he put together masterful game plans against Ohio State, against Clemson, and against USC last year. Fantastic game plan. But where was the focus and attention to detail against Louisville and Clemson, Marshall, and Stanford? It's been a mixed bag. And my thing on Marcus Freeman is in 2 full seasons of him being coach, I don't think we really have truly learned who Marcus Freeman is. But he's still the same guy the day we hired him. He's a great recruiter, great cultural guy. Not sure if he's a good head coach yet. And so I think this is the year we're going to find out. And I think that's fair. I think I agree with you, a lot of your points. He's recruiting really well. You can see it with the skill players. He's certainly built a good culture. There was not a max exodus of transfers, but at the same time, you can't deny some of the negatives I just brought up. So there's no certainty. And then even I think go with what Las Vegas said. Las Vegas has A&M and Notre Dame essentially a pick'em game. It's 1.5.
Yeah, I saw that.
So it's not like it's not like Notre Dame. No, it's not like they think Notre Dame's going to go in there and cruise to a victory. So I just think that for all the people who love Freeman, pump the brakes a bit. He got to go out and win games. And I think for like people like Commander Luke who are just going to be like, hey, I think Freeman's done some really good stuff, and it's year 3. It's like moving day at the Masters. You got to move.
Yeah, it's Andrew, people want answers. People want answers, and we just don't have them. And nobody has the patience. And other people have a lot of patience. It gets into my brain, man. I end up like driving myself crazy sometimes here. It's like, am I overthinking everything, overvaluing everything, or am I undervaluing things? Like, what's the reality here? We're in this in between.
I think you're a little overly excited about the talent Freeman's bringing in. Where I pump the brakes a bit is, it's great to have talent, but if you're gonna come out and play that way against Louisville, what good is it to have be ranked in the top 10 in 247's recruiting ranking?
Yeah. Well, I get okay. Well, wait. Let me flip it.
You know?
Let me flip it. What good it is if you fix some of those problems, you have good talent, and then you're in good shape. If you have those problems and you don't have good talent, then it doesn't matter either way, whether you figure out or not, because you're not going to have the talent you need, right?
What I would push back was I was so disappointed in how Notre Dame looked against Louisville and Duke last year. And the reason why I say that is, with the exception of wide receiver, where we were really depleted, there were very few people on the opposing team that could have started for Notre Dame. So, like, you go starter for starter on Notre Dame's team versus Louisville and Duke, and Notre Dame was vastly more talented. And in both games, they got completely outcoached. And so that's what fears it. It's like, you can build a great roster. Look at Mark Richt at Georgia. Built tremendous rosters. Really famous SEC football players. He could not get over the hump. There was something going on with his coaching. And then Kirby Smart has corrected that.
It's interesting.
That's what I just think.
And then Andrew,
Andrew,
here's something else nobody wants to hear. See, nobody wants to hear this. It is not an excuse, but what happened against Ohio State had an effect with the Duke game and the Louisville game. Those are separate weeks, but to me, that whole thing is connected. You were running out of oil. You were leaking oil. All the momentum was out of the balloon. You were dragging ass physically, and it caught up with you eventually. It doesn't make it okay, but those are all linked. Having 4 undefeated road games all in a row, like, it's all linked. Doesn't make it okay. But there was a hangover. There was a hangover.
Where I do give Freeman some credit is a Bob Davie coach team, a Ty Willingham coach team, a Charlie Weiss coach team. If they suffered some of those devastating losses that Freeman has suffered, like Ohio State, 10-man, like a Marshall, I think those teams quit on the coach. And I will give Freeman credit that his team never seems to quit on him. So I think that has to be a check in the positive category.
Man,
you can't have that letdown game.
We need results this year, man. You got to have a really, really solid year. You got to make this playoff. You got to put tangible.
I think the goal is
tangible evidence out there to get more of these people that want to love Notre Dame in the fold. Give them evidence on paper to believe, their own eyes in a game. I have no issue with that being what people want, and I hope we get there, Andrew. Anything else, man? Thanks for the call.
Just real quick. Just 2 quick points. The goal is so clear. It's last year was sort of muddled. It was, is it the playoff? Is it making a BCS bowl game? Now the goal is so clear. It's a 12-team playoff. You got to make it. If you don't, it's a failure of a season.
Yeah.
That's the first thing. The second thing is, I get where Goolsby's coming from. He's been on this huge kick of, we got to invest in young quarterbacks. My big pushback to that is this. If you are a believer in Marcus Freeman, you want Riley Leonard to be 100% healthy and play the whole season. The reason why is I've been really tough on Freeman, but one thing I'll concede is his plans that he's put in place, I think in the offseason have never been able to come to fruition because of, unfair things. Like, he got, year 1, he got Tommy Rees, forced on him. So he basically conceded, hey, we'll go with Buckner and Pine, and that ruined his first season. Last year, he wanted to hire Andy Ludwig as the offensive coordinator. And if he hired Andy Ludwig, I think last year goes a lot better than it did. And the administration dropped the ball, so he had to pivot and go in-house with Parker. Other than the injuries right now, and we've got to hope that those guys get healthy, year 3's sort of gone his way. He re-signed all the assistant coaches and his recruiting coordinator. He went out and got the best offensive coordinator. He went out and got arguably the best quarterback in the portal. Let his plan play out. No surprises. Let's let him put his best team on the field and let's see what we have. Because I don't want to hear any excuses, and I really think that Goolsby's wrong that if Minchie or Carr get put into a heated game against like Florida State or at USC, I don't think that's our best team on the field. And so I want our best team on the field. I want to see what Freeman can do. So yeah, that's my final point.
It's going to be really interesting. Hey, man, thanks for the call and always thinking about Notre Dame. You always got something. Thank you.
Hey, thanks, man.
Have a good one. Man, I don't know what's going on, but the call-in lines are popping, man. I can't even get to all these chats I wanted to get to and stuff I wanted to laugh at. Man. Phew. What is going on in the chat? Why is it such a disaster today? Oh, man. Yeah, I shouldn't have to say this, but can you keep politics and race out of the chat? I just want to yell about football. Can we keep that real world stuff out? Life's already hard enough. We don't need to make that all here. Jeez. 248, make it great. What's going on? Welcome to the show. Maybe.
Hey, John?
Yeah, gotcha. What's going on?
Hey, it's your favorite troll, Jerry Reinsdorf Burner.
Oh my God. Is it really? That is the funniest name, man. It is just, it gets me. Like, I just see it and then my blood pressure shoots up.
Yeah, but I've been watching you since the beginning, like since the really bad years. So that's how I know really how to get you going.
Oh my gosh. And the thing is, it's because I didn't expect it to come. That's the fun part. Like, I just didn't expect it to come. It was great.
Yeah, but anyway, for Freeman, like for a first-time head coach, I think like you just can't like get too high or low on what happens in the first 2 years. Like as long as it's not like Scott Frost or the wheels fall off, I think it's like fine. So I'm not really worried about Freeman being like a bad coach yet or anything. But like I think it's real. I don't think this year's our year. I think it's more next year's probably our year.
Wait, give me that again. Give me that again.
I don't think like everyone's like freaking out because it's the third year, but I think it's more like 2025 is going to be our year, to be honest.
That's going to be interesting because you're losing a lot of proven guys. 25 is really interesting because you're losing a lot of that defense. Like that's going to come full circle. Mm-hmm. That's going to be the first year you're kicking it with more Freeman's dudes and his guys rolling through. Now you got a good blend. 25 is really interesting because you're going to have a lot of Freeman's guys.
Yeah. But I just think like as long as like we can keep our assistants for like one more year, I think 25 is going to be where we're really good. But for this year, I mean we'll probably make the playoff, I think.
Well, you have to. You got to make the playoff. I'm looking at 11-1. 11-1's my bar. Don't ask me the one game I think we're going to lose. Whatever. 11-1 is my bar. That's what I want to do. That's realistic. I think it's fair. I don't know the one loss, but it's hard to go 12-0, and you need to host a playoff game. That's what I need this to be to get everybody on board here. 11-1, host a playoff game in South Bend, win that game, and then we go from there and we're cooking. That is my ideal path for this year to get people on board and to believe in all this. That's what I want.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'll let you get to other callers, man.
Hey, I really appreciate it. And, really creative with the Jerry Burner. You're mixing in another sport, but something is going to make me mad. It's a valued addition to the program here because it's just off the beaten path. So thank you.
All right. See you, man.
Really appreciate it. Thank you very much. What the heck? I hit the button. 573, you're talking to me. What's going on?
How's it going, John?
It's going very well, man. I don't know what's going on, but the phone lines are popping. Sometimes in the summer, nobody wants to talk to Johnny Boy. Now we're blowing up. Everybody's got some idea. What's yours?
We have good vibes going. A lot of people have thoughts about Freeman and the whole program changing because it's relevant.
Yeah.
One thought I wanted to make sure to get out, because I feel like a lot of people are excited about Max Bulla, but to me, one of his big, legit characteristics is the fact that Mike Vrabel has said on multiple occasions that Max Bulla is the brightest football mind he's ever met. And Vrabel was on the team with Belichick and Brady and stuff like that. And still, Max Bulla is the brightest mind that he knew.
Yeah, the guy's impressive and was good to watch as a player. He's the perfect fit for this group and this culture. Al Golden's kind of the old G on that side. Then you have his young energy. I really like it. Yeah, I like it. Correct me if I'm wrong. This is seriously one of the best staffs I think Notre Dame's had in that I can remember. Well-rounded. I can't tell you the last time I approved. When have I approved of the OC and the DC at the same time? When? Never.
Right.
Never.
In 2015, we had a great offensive staff. With Green Bay's current head coach was our quarterback coach or whatever. And then Denbrock was the OC at that point. It was one of our best offenses of all time. And then Kelly had to go mess everything up in 2016.
Yeah.
That's
dude, it's really bizarre. It's so bizarre, the Kelly arc. He inherited a pretty big nightmare, built it up, got it to a pretty good level. But then it all had to be burned back down, and then he rebuilt it more stable, but still, it was a weird journey.
Yep. Yeah, everyone's trying to say that you're free pass or whatever. You're giving him Marcus Freeman his free pass, and I don't see that. I think we were all pretty optimistic and not really dogging on Kelly in his first 3 years at all. It felt like how Freeman feels right now, where it felt like we were getting a lot of that momentum back. Obviously recruiting wasn't anywhere near how it is now, but we could feel the program changing from Weiss to Kelly in the positive. But then once things started to go bad and year after year, Kelly would just push off blame. That's when we're like, oh, screw this guy. He's not here for us. He's here for him. And we have no reason to think that was Freeman yet.
Yeah.
Everything he's shown, everything he's done, he doesn't have the big game wins yet, but he has, he's beaten Ohio State for recruits multiple times. He's beaten Alabama for recruits multiple times. There's big changes happening, and I agree with what a lot of the other callers have said. As soon as Freeman has a bad season, or if for this year, for this regular season, if it's not 11-1, there's a lot of questions that have to be asked. If it's not 11-1 or better,
yeah, and I think that's fair. I think that's total. I think that would be fair. Yeah, you got to deliver. We got to start delivering here. There's just, this is the theme of the summer, is we're all going to sit here and do this every day. You got to start delivering. That's fine. Yep. I know, I'm never going to, I don't know why nobody gets madder to me than when Notre Dame loses games. So I don't understand why everybody acts like when we lose, I sit here and go, it's okay. I had a stroke after every game. Every game Notre Dame lost last year, I came on here and had a stroke, and people are somehow saying I'm fine with it. I don't get it.
Yeah. It doesn't make any sense. I'm like, you're not doing any free pass at all. It's like there's reasons to be optimistic. So you're rightfully optimistic. There's nothing free there.
No,
like,
I get no. I think
optimism has been earned.
I think it's a free pass to people if I don't say fire the guy. That's what, like, I don't know how else to take it. I think if anything other than me going, fire the guy. He had 10 men on the field, fire him. It's done. Like, is that accountability? Because at no point did I come here after any of the losses and go, it's okay. No, I lost my mind. Yeah. So free pass, I'm up here turning purple, yelling about the mistakes when we lost. How is that a free pass?
And like the things that you were yelling about last season, they've been changed. Parker is gone. We have Denbrock now. Like, there's what is there to be worried about right now? Like, I think the people who want you to be calling for his job are just as silly as the people who think we should just give up on Riley Leonard already and just give Angeli the start. I'm like, you want to give our most mid quarterback of the last 2 decades just the go ahead just because he could be just okay for us?
Yeah.
And we're just going to lose out on possibly a first round draft pick type talent.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense. There's no reasonable basis for that, in my opinion. It's just fans being fans. Like,
yeah,
people have way too much time on their hands.
And you know what else too, man? Listen, I do know that a part of this is these people love Notre Dame, and a lot of them have been hurt so many years. They have 30 years of Notre Dame scar tissue. They've never seen us win anything. They're hurt, and every time they buy in, they've been let down, and they don't want to do that anymore. And I think that is the mindset that has a lot of people in, I'll believe it only when I see it. I really do think that's what's going on here.
Yeah. That's fair.
So I do. And
I'm not going to convince anybody.
Yeah. Well, it'd be nice if Freeman and the team convince people, and then nobody could debate it. The results would be the results. That's where we need to get, and it needs to be this year, and it needs to start week 1. That's my answer, and I'm sticking to it. That's my answer, and I'm sticking to it. So I don't know, man.
I think a big reason a lot of people are worried that Indy might lay an egg in the Texas A&M game is because they think Freeman's a bad away coach, but his first year, he won every single away game but the Ohio State game. And in the second year, he only won 1 away game. So
yeah,
it's about equal on both sides. So it's kind of like a coin flip at this point.
Yeah, it's
like,
man,
I don't think there's proof that he's a bad away coach.
All I know is this is going to be a long summer, man. Look at where we're at. We're in what, the first week of May, and look at us, and look at the debate and the chat and everything. And everything's got to be all or nothing. That's the other thing, man. Nobody lets you navigate in like reasonable middle ground. It's either all or nothing, just have a good year, beat the hell out of A&M and get this started off right. And we could shut everybody up nationally, our local people that don't believe in it, whatever, or we're just due for something good to happen around this program. Damn it.
I really think that Notre Dame is going to wipe the floor with Texas A&M. They're not even a top 10 SEC team.
Yeah. Yeah,
they're not even a top 10 SEC team, and they just lost half their roster of all their talent and brought in Elko, and he has a good staff and he's a great coach, but it's year 1, game 1.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. That's the thing. Elko's really, really good, but he's not going to have it all put together week 1, year 1. Like, that's my opinion. He's really, really good, but there's no way he's going to have this all nice and tidy week 1, year 1. It's just not going to happen.
No way. Yep.
So I don't know, man. But hey, thanks for the call on a Wednesday. I appreciate it. Anything on the way out?
Yeah, thanks for taking my call.
No problem.
Yeah, just have a great day.
Take care, man. Thank you very much.
Yep.
I don't know. I don't know why we're having so many more callers these days, but I do appreciate it. Oh, boy. 219, you're on the line. Is this who I think it is? I don't know if I'm in the mood for this.
Yo, John.
Yeah. Yeah.
Man, I'm sitting here listening to these callers, and I got questions.
Okay.
I'm crawling in my skin. I want to puke my guts out listening to some of this stuff. Are they, in your opinion, are some of these callers stupid or ignorant? Either they don't know, or they know better. Either they don't know, or they do know, but they're gaslighting people like me and others.
Can you be specific?
With the comments they're making.
Can you be specific about what you're referring to that you disagree with, so that we can make sure we know what we're dealing with here?
Yes. Yeah, I've got a couple things I can be specific on. Number one, before I get into some of the specifics that the callers were at, I only heard a couple calls. I had some other things to do, but I did catch the part of the show where you were talking about let Freeman get the ingredients, let him cook, and that type of talk. So if Freeman's the cook, the field's the kitchen, and the players are the ingredients, and he's going to put all this together and make it into something great. If he's the master chef, he should be able to do that. And what happened in the spring, and me and you already discussed this once, and we went over it, but I'm going to go over it again to prove my point. If he was the master chef, if he was the master coach, then the way the spring game went would not have went that way. Because lining up your alleged starting tackles, who leave a lot to be desired, against scrubs that aren't even our frontline DN, and then I find out, you've heard me talking about Shamar Turner, big bad motherfucker. And then I come to find out he's not even the main dude. There's some other guy with a weird last name. He's supposed to be like a top 10 first round draft pick for defensive end. So you got those two guys. You got Turner and the guy with the weird name. And you're lining up Charles Jackasaw, who was the lowest ranked player out of all linemen in the bowl season, against these two all-stars. And then you got another guy on the other side, Tosh Baker, who's a 6-year guy, an 8-year guy, however long he's been here. It's been long enough that he ain't cracked the depth chart, and there's clearly a reason for it. So if you're the master chef, I don't see why you play your cards the way you are in the spring game. And that's just one example that I can give. I think Freeman's screwing himself. Freeman's screwing Freeman.
I think they would contend that they saw what they needed to see in the Saturday before the blue and gold game, where they had a 95 play full scrimmage, ones on ones. I'm just telling you what you might not think it matters. I'm telling you what they might have thought. To them, I think they
thought wrong.
I think that that could be your opinion, but I think they feel like they saw what they needed to see out of the ones and the ones in that Saturday before scrimmage. And then they do the goofy draft and all that for the blue and gold game. And I think that just be a matter of preference on approach. I would have liked to see the ones on the ones and see all that too. I'm not disagreeing with that, but it isn't about what I want. It's about what they think's going to further the team, I guess. I don't know. You could disagree on that. Well, I don't have a huge argument with that. I don't have a huge argument with that. I don't see where the
logic is in that, but
yeah, that's fine. What else are you mad at today? Who else is wrong and why?
Okay. So still tying it in with Freeman, then, so what I've seen in the spring, how he ran that operation, and then what I've seen from, you touched on a little bit. You briefly touched on Freeman's in-game coaching's got to get better, and my head turns purple and spin, and smoke comes out my ears, and I'm I'm on fire. But when you point fingers, it's never been directly at Freeman. It's always either Kelly, assistant coaches, the administration, any number of things, but never have you ever said, Freeman lost us this game. And I can tell you the first game that he ever coached, and you and I talked about this over a year ago too, and you said, oh, you can't go back and count that because that wasn't truly his team. That's not the point I was making. The point that I was trying to make is what cost them that game, and I'm talking about Oklahoma State, was at the end. They had and this is back when I was still sky high on Freeman. He's going to be my guy. He's going to lead us to the promised land. And then I seen that first game, and they lost that game at the end because of the way Freeman handled the timeouts at the end. They could have kicked the field goal, and he would have had a win. The first game, he would have won. And then, when I see that, I says, whoa.
Let me
whoa.
Let me ask this. What is your patience level? What is your patience level for Marcus Freeman being a brand new coach, learning on the fly? How much patience do you have for that argument of a guy when he's starting out is probably going to make mistakes you have to learn and grow through? And I'm not setting you up. I'm genuinely asking you, how much patience do you have for that process that we've been going through? If it isn't much and you say this is Notre Dame, you got to win, that's fine. I'm just asking you your opinion.
Okay. Yes. It is Notre Dame. You're expected to come in here and win. I'm going to answer that. I'm going to answer that question. I'm going to give you two-part answer. Part one, the basic mistakes that I'm talking about, like what happened in that first bowl game and other games we've seen since. I'm just using that one as an example I can pull out. I got a whole clip loaded. There's more than one. There's a whole bunch.
So
the basic mistakes. Well, the basic mistakes I don't have a lot of patience for. Number two, here, you want to know what would give me patience with Freeman? And then I think everybody should give him a little bit of a pass, but Freeman's not this kind of coach, so this will never, ever happen. Start C.J. Carr. Week 1, Texas A&M. Take your hits as you go,
Yeah, but wait.
Just maybe you catch lightning in a bottle, and C.J. Carr is what
and
we all want him to be.
But the flip side of that is, you run a freshman against A&M, and he has freshman mistakes, and you don't win. And then you're nailing Freeman saying he threw the guy to the wolves, and you should have a guy ready to go, and this is unacceptable. Fire him. So that's where a guy like you is never going to be happy. You're never going to be happy, though, because if you do that and it doesn't work out, you're going to say, you got to have a guy ready. How could you do that? Now we lost. So then you're not going to be happy with that either.
If you throw him out there and he goes and throws 2 or 3 interceptions in the first quarter, then I'm going to say, what do you see in this guy? Why'd you put him out there? He was nowhere near ready.
Yeah.
But
that's touchy.
At the same time, this year, whether we want to admit it or not, this is anytime you get a transfer quarterback, that's a rebuilding year for your offense. I don't care. This year is a total rebuild for the offensive line. We got a Band-Aid quarterback. We got a bunch of young, brand new receivers. I mean, unfortunately, Williams sounds like he's going to be the next, he's not doing so great right now. Maybe he can get back better. We don't lose him like we did Tobias, Jordan Johnson, some of these other guys. It's just, I see mistakes that I think Freeman can control that will make his destiny better.
Yeah.
I feel he's done a lot of this stuff to himself.
as we say, if he's the master chef, then put it together.
Yeah, it's got to.
So far, we just haven't seen that.
It's got to come together. I agree with you. I am with you. Like,
I want to see him. You know, here, you want some patience? Go out and beat Texas A&M by touchdowns, multiple touchdowns. Beat the shit out of them. And if that happens, I don't see any reason why we shouldn't be undefeated at the end of the season. And then I'm totally wrong. My prediction of 8-5 plus or minus 1 will be wrong, just like I was wrong last year. But you know, all these other guys that were saying, 11-1 undefeated, they were all wrong too, but yet they don't point that out.
Yeah, it's man,
You know?
I listen. I'm with you. I share a lot of your concerns. Freeman's got to clean a lot of things up and have a really good year this year. And so I'm with you on that. It's time to show it on the field, and you got to see it, and the excuses need to go bye-bye, and the free passes and all that. I agree with you. I'm with you on that.
And you know, as far as and then what's the trump card that a lot of Freeman supporters like to throw out? Well, the recruiting is great. I don't see it as being. I don't see the recruiting being bad, but I don't see it as being outstanding. I don't see the quarterback room. People say, "Well, we got all these great quarterbacks." We have been told this, John. I've been listening to your show since way back. Under 5, you were. I think you were under 250 subs when I first found you, and I've listened and believed when I've heard Joe Dracovic. He's going to lead us. Buckner, he's going to lead us. You know, and under Kelly, they've had decent quarterback rooms. I mean, you're talking about 5 stars. You're talking about high-rated 4-star. You know, Wimbush, when he came in here, he was going to be the man. You know, and you've had multiple quarterbacks overlapping on the roster that were highly recruited, and now whatever happened to him in college, if that was Brian Kelly who screwed him up, or they just weren't as good as they were projected to be, I don't know. It's probably a little, but I mean, you had, you know, multiple guys on the roster who were supposed to be, you know, what we say.
Yep, it's a big deal.
Deuce Knight,
you got to get it right.
All these guys,
you got to get it right. These guys, they got to.
You know, yeah. So you know, these are all basically excuses. Is what I see. We've had plenty of quarterbacks.
It was the casual way you said that. It was just the casual. It was just the casual way you were just like, I don't know. It's just excuses, I guess. I don't know. It was just the way you said that. Your tone struck me. Hey, listen, man, I'm with you. It's a big year. There's more pressure on Freeman. The expectations are higher. He's got to deliver. All the mistakes need to go down, and the efficiency needs to go up. We agree. Are we good? Can we be good? Can I go on with my day?
Yes, I agree with you. Yeah, hey, just, you know, like I said, we got to win week 1, and you got to do it convincingly, and that's going to buy him some time.
Yeah.
And again, you're trying to do it with a quarterback who averages less than 160 yards a game. I mean, what's the point?
Yeah.
You know, put CJ Carr in there.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting.
Because chances are those defensive ends are going to meet at Riley Leonard, and they're going to break him in the first quarter. And now who are you going to put in? Angeli? Is that the answer? What would you do? Leonard goes down first quarter, John, and it's a season-ending injury. Breaks his leg in half. He's done. No more Leonard. Who do you go with?
I'm rolling with.
If you're head coach, who would you go with?
I'm gonna have some balls and roll with CJ Carr and go. We need to get this thing going. It's your time now. Go play better as a freshman than anybody thinks. We're gonna do this now. I'm not going through 11 in year 3. I'm not going through 11 games of Steve Angeli doing checkdowns. We need to be past that. We need to be over that. I would roll the dice if you're in that situation.
I agree. I would have said, 2 months ago, I would have said Steve Angeli, and there's no question. But no, it's CJ Carr.
Yeah,
If something happens,
that's what I would do, and
So
I would say the hell with that red shirt. Like, we need to get this going, and I'm done with the check down master thing. We're not doing that. Like, I would rather you go for it and whatever. So, hey man, thanks for the call. I'm about to wrap up the show. Thank you.
All right, John. Yep. Thanks. Have a good one.
Have a good one. Dude, I don't know what it is about today, but this wore me out. I don't know what it was, or if it was the heavier call load, but this wore me out. Usually it ain't like that, but it wore me out. I need to go get some fresh air and walk around. And the other thing is, can we just keep the insults about football and not race and politics and everything else? Like, just keep it football. Just keep it football. But seriously, I need to go decompress after whatever the hell this was. So, again, another day where I got through I got through none of my notes. Everything, callers out the wazoo, but I didn't get through any of my notes, so I don't know. But man, it's just rough in here sometimes. I'm seriously going to go decompress. Like, I need to walk around. This one got to me a little bit. God. All right, guys. Hang in there. Thank you. I do like having all the callers and everything. It's just some of this gets bizarre, and we're only in the beginning of May. So for real, Phil, I need a Miller Lite for lunch to knock whatever this was out. All right, I'm out of here, you guys. Thanks to everybody that donated, all the chats, all the calls. I like to have everybody in the mix. It's just a weird mix sometimes. Have a good day.